New this morning, Jeffrey Epstein's convicted accomplice and former girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell may be looking for a presidential pardon. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse young girls. Last week, she was granted limited immunity to speak with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche about the Epstein files. Today, her attorneys are making their final pitch to the Supreme Court to try to persuade the justices to consider overturning her criminal conviction. Joining me now, former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. Jeremy, good to see you as always. So we look at the limited immunity is fairly standard, the way I understand it, when there's a questioning that is happening, like what we saw with the Deputy AG Todd Blanche last week with Ghislaine Maxwell in Florida. Realistically, he said we'll get information on what they discussed, at the appropriate time, were his words. What do you expect to learn from those meetings?
I don't think that is going to be made public. These proffer agreements, which are routine and regular, and that limited immunity, so if you lie, it can be used against you, but that limited immunity is not atypical. But that's also shared internally and making prosecutorial decisions, and it's up to discretion of the prosecutors what they want to share publicly. But at the same time, understanding that the public may want to know and Trump's base may want to know, that's not the principle that really should be guiding the Department of Justice. It should be, what, if anything, should we do with the information that we are given? Should we pursue other people? Is this going to lead to further investigation? Is this going to increase and add to additional prosecution? We'd like to think that opportunity would have happened a long time ago if there was something to pursue when she was originally prosecuted. But those are the types of questions that they're going to ask internally, but not necessarily shared publicly.
Mm-hmm. Well, to that point, sort of two questions. In terms of information that was shared previously, to be at this point where she is now, serving 20 years, a 20-year sentence after being convicted, her attorney said she's been cooperative, essentially, but, not saying that saying, hey, sure, she would love a pardon, right, if that's possible. I mean, if she had something that she wanted to share, isn't that something that would have come up already?
Yeah, you would think that at that point in time, when she was initially prosecuted, she would have offered up information, say, listen, save myself, here's what I have, and they would have assessed her credibility, understanding that there's always an agenda to an accused, meaning they could still be honest and upfront, but at the same time, they want to free themselves of incarceration or the stigma, and worse, of a felony conviction on the federal level. But yeah, you would expect it to come up before, and what she may have may be incredibly valuable. But remember, this is a person who is insisting on her innocence and saying, I didn't even do any of this. And to say, as her attorney said, that they're not necessarily looking for something and they're being upfront and honest here, I think that really that defies credibility. There's certainly an agenda, and whether or not that fits the Department of Justice agenda, I don't know. But you really have to make sure what she says is accurate, because if they, meaning the Department of Justice, are going to pursue new charges or try to shed light on something and point a finger at someone, it better darn be really accurate and be credible and assessed for that.
Given the assessment from the DOJ about her credibility in the past, which is frankly, she's not credible, that you can't trust her to tell the truth. Perfect. If you are Todd Blanche going into these discussions, how do you approach someone like that?
This is something that Todd Blanche, I'm sure, has done, and it's really basic for all prosecutors. You're trained and to assess. But 100%, anyone listening to what she has to say understands and should recognize that there is an agenda. She may not be honest. She wants that pardon. She wants to be commuted. She wants something. But what's critical here is whatever she says, I want to corroborate. It comes from her mouth, but I also want to look to the files. Is it made out and borne out somewhere else? What other evidence confirms what she's saying is accurate? Because her saying it now, after not saying it for so long, if at all, really gives me pause and concern as law enforcement, because the tools that I have to really come after someone and accuse them of a crime are very powerful. And before I do that, I need to make sure it's accurate. What's in the file? What's in a search warrant? What did other witnesses say? What did the victim say?
Jeremy, appreciate it. Thank you.